Hello students, and welcome to this A-Level History presentation, and this is the beginning of the British Society course, and that is the Macmillan Years. In this particular presentation, we'll be looking at the economic aspect of his time in power. So Macmillan, he took over from him as leader of Britain in 1957. This was after he made mistakes, and you'll see this later on in the presentation. The Conservative reign was one which mainly consisted of them not really doing much in terms of changing economy or social aspects of life, and also Labour having their own issues within their party. The Macmillan government time in the economy started off well but gradually decreased in terms of quality of living. And the Conservative Party failed to adapt to the fundamental change which was happening in society at that time after the war. So, the level of prosperity. "You never had it so good" was a statement made by Macmillan, and he was referring to the prosperity of people. This was after his 3 years in reign, so he made this speech in 1960, and he was referring to the good levels of unemployment, which is at 1.7 million, which at that time is extremely good, and he was also referring to the new goods which are being produced, such as fridges and TVs. Secondly, in 1960 to 63, coincidentally after the "You've Never Had It So Good" speech, he had economic difficulties. His fundamental economic policy of low unemployment was not going terribly well, and also a direct cause of this is probably because they did not sign up to the EEC in 1957. And in case you're wondering, the EEC is the equivalent of today's term as the European Union. And the benefits of being part of a European body is that you have more integral trade within your countries as part of that system, and in turn this means more demand for goods in that area, as well as high levels of employment. Economic organisations. Neddy's and Nicky's were formed in 1962, and they tried to plan the economy, and both had the issue where they couldn't implement their ideas because they just didn't have the power to do it. They had very good targets, such as 5.2% increase in exports in the next year. And it's all very good having these aims, but there's no point in having them if you don't have the necessary tools in order to reach your aims. And Nicky's had a different goal, but they still had the same problem of reviewing wages. And this was disliked by unions because unions want to feel as though they are fighting for the people in terms of getting the best wages and best respect they can for their job. And Nicky's arguably compromised this. Now, I refer to European bodies such as the EU, and as a result of not joining the EEC in 1957, Macmillan chose to create and join the EFTA, which stands for the European Free Trade Area. And this was formed for the reasons that you would join the EEC, for increased trade. But the EEC did not have as well economically developed countries, and it didn't have as many countries as the EEC. And therefore, as a result, the trade that the UK received from the EFTA was not at the same level that they would have received if they were part of the EEC. And in 1963, they realised the mistake they had made, and they asked for Charles de Gaulle, they asked the European Union, EEC, if they could join. And the policy of the EEC is if one country rejects your entry, then you're not going in. And Charles de Gaulle rejected the UK's entry, firstly because he didn't want the American influence on European issues, and this was because at the time US and UK relations were very strong, and as well as this, he didn't want the UK to be a rival to France. France at that time was doing fairly well in European terms, and they wanted to be consistent as the leader of the EEC, and they thought that the UK, in terms of economics, would compromise this level of hierarchy, if you like. Now towards the economic political mix. So these economic beliefs were firmly disagreed by Powell, Thornycroft even, and Birch, who formed the Treasury, who effectively controlled the economy, and they all resigned in 1958. Now, the economic beliefs they disagreed with were Macmillan's, which was making sure you had low unemployment at the expense of anything, whether that means high inflation, whether that means businesses not doing terribly well yet still functioning. He fundamentally believed employment was the key. And another economic policy of his was also the interest rates. He fluctuated them between 2 and 7%. Now, in case you're not very good at your economics, the reason why you would do this is to adapt to the levels of adapt the levels of inflation by adapting interest rates. So if you have interest rates low, people will spend more because you're not going to save as much money if you put it in the bank, and also carrying out loans is cheaper, so you're more inclined to spend. And he used this as a tool to counteract, if you like, the expense of having to make sure that everyone was employed. Sorry about that. And now it is the end of the lesson. Please visit the website at www.revisealevel.co.uk to find out more information on A-level history, including some key terms you may not have known in that particular slide. I hope you enjoyed the video, and also explore our other videos in the YouTube channel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our channel and hopefully the other history videos that we have. Thank you very much.